My hair's up and I'm ready to cook. We're gonna start with our sauerkraut. If you haven't tried it yet, please do. Fermented foods are really good for your gut health, very inexpensive to make, and this is a very simple recipe. So let's try it.
To start this recipe, I chopped half an onion, heated some oil in my pan, and added a pinch of salt to it. I covered it with a lid so it can cook faster and left it to saute for 5 minutes. After you can see that your onions have changed color, you can go ahead and add your mince. I have beef mince here with quite a lot of garlic in it. So if yours doesn't have garlic, you can add about 3 cloves at this point. 3 cloves is really kind of the minimum that you want for this recipe. The more, the better. And I'm using beef because that's the meat that I had. But originally, at least the Eastern European way, we would make this recipe with pork or pork chunks. And I will saute my meat for a few minutes, keeping in mind that if you're using pork chunks, it's going to take a little bit longer. I'm also using a very small amount of meat here, about half a pound or 200 grams. You don't really need a lot. You just want something that will give some extra flavor to your sauerkraut. For seasoning, I'm using pepper. And the second thing that is kind of like a no-brainer for me is Vegeta. And as a Balkan girl, I always have this in my pantry. I order it online, bring it with me, whatever, but I'm never without it. And it's a really good way to add more flavor to your meals. You can use it in everything really, but it works best for soups and stews and one-pot meals and so on. The next thing that is kind of crucial here are bay leaves. I am adding 3 smaller bay leaves. If you have bigger ones, 2 should be enough. And quite a bit of paprika. This is gonna be the only things that are gonna make this dish. So you want quite a lot of paprika. If you have smoked paprika, even better. Or you can make a mixture of both. And I'm again frying everything for a minute or so, just so I can get some more flavor out of the seasoning. And I will go ahead and add my sauerkraut. If you're already buying it, make sure, or if you can find it, if you have an option, get the ones that are in the fridge, because if they need to be stored in the fridge, that means that they have more live cultures left in them rather than the ones that are on the shelf. But the ones on the shelf are good as well. But maybe you're gonna have to eat a bit more of it. Fun fact, actually, sauerkraut didn't originate in Europe, but it actually did in China. Anyhow, I will combine all the ingredients together, break it down a little bit so I don't have any large chunks. And we want some more liquid so we can cook this until our sauerkraut cabbage will get soft. That will take around an hour. And at this point, I decided that it wasn't red enough for me. So I added some more paprika. After you've made it a couple of times, you're gonna notice what kind of strength you want with your seasonings. And I will add 2 cups of water, and that's really it. If you don't have Vegeta, you can just use salt to taste and bring it to boil, cover it with a lid, and leave it for an hour to cook. After an hour, it should be ready to serve. It will taste even better the next day. If you have some leftovers, you can store it in the fridge for a few days. But if you want to stretch the portions, you can serve it with some cooked potatoes. In preparation for my next recipe, I washed and cooked the lentils according to the instructions on the package. I also washed my kale, and I will get it ready for our salad. Since I like my kale more on the softer side, I will chop it very thinly and put some salt on it and some olive oil, and I will massage it for around 2 to 3 minutes. This makes the kale much softer and a better addition to any of your salads if you're eating it raw rather than in its original form. So I thought the next thing I could add to it are some sweet potatoes. So I chopped those in smaller chunks and put them on the side so we can get them ready later. I washed the broccoli and I'm cutting it here in small chunks so I can roast it later in my air fryer. In the meantime, my lentils were cooked, so one part was done. To start preparing the toppings, I'm gonna season the sweet potato, and I've also preheated my air fryer on 375 degrees for about 5 minutes, just so we can get warm. And you can also spray the inside basket of your air fryer, but I normally just put some olive oil on my vegetables, and I added some salt to the sweet potato. You don't really need much because they're already delicious without anything. And I will roast them in my air fryer on 375 degrees for 10 minutes, stirring it halfway through. For the broccoli, I'm thinking I would like to have some additional flavors and a different type of crunchiness to my salads. So I will season this with onion powder, garlic powder, pepper, and quite a large pinch of cayenne pepper. But if you don't want it to be spicy, you can just use paprika or smoked paprika. If you don't have an air fryer, you can also bake the broccoli and the sweet potato in a conventional oven. Just preheat it to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius and bake it for 25 minutes or until you can see that the potatoes got soft. In the air fryer, I will bake the broccoli for 10 minutes as well because I like them more on the crunchier side, but you can do it for 7 minutes. It works just as well. We now have everything ready to assemble our salad, and I will tear my lettuce leaves with my hands. You don't really want to cut it so it doesn't brown. And I will add some of that kale. You can also add your favorite dressing at this point, although I like adding mine at the end. I also like putting all my ingredients on top of the salad, one next to the other, so it all looks pretty before I mix it all up. In the meantime, I fried half of the plantain and I'm adding that to my salad as an addition, but you can put any other toppings as you'd like. And your salad is ready.
Thank you so much for watching. This week we made 5 different recipes and up to 18 servings of delicious meals. You can make these meals at the beginning of the week as a meal prep and store them in the fridge, or you can make them individually every day. You can also adjust some of the recipes like the lettuce wraps, and you can take the meat out of it and have a vegan or a vegetarian version. With all of this, we still have a lot of ingredients left for next week, and let's see what we can make out of it. If you like this content, please comment down below or subscribe to my channel so I can make more videos like this. See you next time.